Geek Out! Good evening and welcome to another installment of From Geek Out with Love. I'm Sam.
I'm Jake.
I'm Rich.
I'm Garrett.
And it's been a while. It hasn't been quite the 6-year break between License to Kill and GoldenEye, but we are now out of the Timothy Dalton era, out of the 80s. We're in the dawn of Pierce Brosnan, and I'm not talking about Remington Steele. I'm not even talking about Taffin or the Lawnmower Man or Mrs. Doubtfire. No, I'm talking about 1995's GoldenEye, which effectively relaunched the franchise for the post-Cold War period in all its 90s. This is the most 90s, appropriately so, this is the most 90s James Bond movie.
And it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, we all, I think, have fond memories of GoldenEye, and for the most part, the film holds up. But I think it's comfortable, we're all comfortable to say, and I had watched this with Jake and Rich last week, that GoldenEye is the most 90s Bond movie. Like, straight down to the soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I think Jake says it the best when there are moments in the soundtrack where, how would you put it, Jake?
I mean, someone recorded a metal pipe being thrown down a hallway.
Just boom, boom, boom.
Bong, 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 bong.
Very industrial.
And I don't have a problem with it. I'm just, it's
give me more.
So,
That's what Tomorrow Never Dies means.
It's so different than any other Bond soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's better than those fucking Hans Zimmer, like the fucking air horns you get these days. So
Yeah, that's Zimmer's legacy post coming out of Inception, really. I feel like we're finally through that in trailers now. I don't really hear that.
We had that one thing for a while where it was record like a acapella version or sad version of a pop song. What is it now? There's something.
The single piano note.
The single piano note.
Ding.
Yeah, everything changes. Ding. Like Star Wars was doing that shit like crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the everything changes, or yeah. So.
This time,
Are we talking about the same Hans Zimmer that does all the Nancy Meyer movies?
Did he do all the Nancy Meyer movies?
Yeah, he's done the score for It's Complicated, Something's Gotta Give, The Holiday. All that's him.
Oh.
what the fuck happened to him?
He needs to.
The reason I know this is because we were trying to pick out cocktail hour music and all that stuff for the wedding, and when I was going through playlists that are on Spotify, it was
You're like nothing
soundtrack
says wedding like Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, I want to listen to the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack as I'm going through hors d'oeuvres. Actually, I literally wanted that to happen.
You just have it like during the vows, like, do you take, your wife to be your lawfully wedded bride?
So, Rich, am I then hoping both to take it back on topic and to keep it topical? Is the cocktail hour to your wedding going to be set to the GoldenEye soundtrack by Eric Serra?
I don't know. We haven't figured out the soundtrack for the cocktail hour. All I know is that Mallory's entrance down the aisle is going to be akin to Apollo Creed and Rocky IV. We got the
Living in America
steam coming out of it and everything.
Oh shit! Is James Brown back from the dead?
Nobody's got Carl Weathers.
We got was it Chadwick Boseman that played him in the movie?
Is
Michael B. Jordan?
Oh yeah, and
Michael B. Jordan.
No, it was Chadwick Boseman played him in Get On Up.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't he come out of
Chadwick Boseman that's going to make an appearance and play James Brown?
Doesn't he come out of like a split open goat head, golden goat head?
Yes.
Nice, beautiful. Also, this soundtrack is all over the fucking place.
Bong, bong, bong.
Like there's some times where it's like, yeah, it's
got music that just doesn't.
Yeah, like the weird
It's got music where it feels like it should be going slow and it goes fast, and then when it should be kind of fast paced and it just kind of goes slow. And even like the James Bond theme is kind of seems like it's never really in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, there's there's plenty of James Bond moments, but the music doesn't. There's only a handful of times where I'm like, oh, this fits. It's when it's the running gunfight in the archives. I'm like, oh, that works. Not the weird like synths during the opening car chase, like dun, 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 dun. Like it sounds like somebody's like pirated an entire Neo Geo soundtrack or just like went berserk on a synth with their elbows.
That kind of is a thing that like happened between, the 80s and the 90s. Like in the time between the last film and this one, there's a lot more parts of movies that are scored. You go back and you look at those older Bond movies, like, especially back into Roger Moore and Sean Connery, like there will be entire action sequences where there's no music played whatsoever, where like by the time you get to the mid 90s, like if you don't have music all the time, people are like, what the fuck did you pay the scoring for?
Yeah. There's the only other time the music really works for me, like exceptionally, is the cradle fight when it starts and Trevelyan's taking the really fast moving elevator thing, considering how much distance he has to travel, and Bond's like diving down fucking steel staircases. That's possibly okay. Here's a question: how much of this film do you think is more reinforced by the video game tie-in for the Nintendo 64, and how much of it do you think really stands up on its own merit?
That's impossible.
I don't like the single player mode of the video game, so I honestly I don't remember it at all. So
I haven't played the video game in 16 years, if not longer, so I can't really comment all that much.
I mean, I feel like in terms of following the movie, it really does as good as a job as I think it could have. Yeah. And while
it's one of the best movie tie-in games of all time.
Yeah, while throwing in some stuff that's totally original to the game,
and given the restrictions on like being on an old fucking console.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. I mean, I would think that cradle fight, is one of my favorite James Bond fights ever.
Yeah.
It's
probably the most physical Brosnan ever gets.
Oh, definitely.
It's a brutal fight scene.
Yeah, brutal.
God.
Yeah.
They're throwing like chains at each other.
Yeah, they're throwing the chain. I'm always like, man, if you messed that up or missed that. I mean, granted, they could have just like added the rattling and sound effects, and it could have been a
just
fake
been like
chain.
rubber plastic.
But
chain.
that's the magic of movies. But that's one of, if not my favorite thing in GoldenEye, is that fight. It's just fucking great.
Yeah, and that's a great level too. But yeah, no.
It is. Yeah, the way it starts.
Yeah, which is it's a running. That's a running gunfight as well.
Yeah.
But the and how I think what a way for the Brosnan era to open up with him jumping off the fucking dam, which you can pay money to do in Switzerland where it was filmed. And then, it's just such an iconic prologue, that entire, chemical factory sequence where he teams up with 006 and doesn't get scarred by the gunshot.
Yeah.
And
I always thought that it was, the muzzle flash of the gun is what scarred his face. And Sam and Rich are like, no, it's the explosion. And I'm like, what? The explosion gave him, bad acne? It's ridiculous. That's bullshit. The whole movie's bullshit. This whole podcast is bullshit. I was gonna. Oh no! Remember we didn't figure it out we're geniuses, but we put two and two together that this 006 failed mission happened during the Dalton era.
It happens the year before.
Before the Dalton era. So our new thing is that's why Dalton's so fucking pissed, because his entire time he thinks that
Trevelyan is bad at his job.
He failed. Yeah, he failed his buddy.
Yeah, because I mean. Something that gets left out is that there is a 9-year time jump between the prologue and the
I always forget that shit.
Yeah, because it's we need to remind that this is a Cold War character, and I don't know why it has to be 9 fucking years. The wall came down in '89, just like Taylor Swift. But the the wall comes down. Taylor Swift is like, "I'm here.
I'm here, baby."
She was in there the whole time.
Yeah. That's why Reagan wanted Gorbachev to tear it down.
He's like, we need America's next pop star in 20 years.
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah. Because baby, now we got bad. But she fucking just kicks that shit down. Get the fuck out of here. Commies.
We need her now more than ever.
We need Taylor Swift. Bow, bow, bow. boom, 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 boom.
On the topic of the music, though, I'll say out of the Brosnan movies, this might be the weakest of the songs.
Weaker than Die Another Day by Madonna?
I don't remember that because I haven't seen Die Another Day in a while.
There's a part of me that's always jamming in that song. I'm like, hey, there's a little bit of a jam. And then she gets to the Sigmund Freud, analyze this. And I'm like, fuck you. And I turn that shit off every time. And it's like a minute into it, so.
Yeah, I will say Die Another Day, and we'll talk more about it, is my favorite opening title sequence set to, not necessarily because of the music, but I like what it's being set to. Whereas this one, you kind of get the iconography of the Soviet Union falling down as Tina Turner sings GoldenEye in a song written by Bono and The Edge from U2.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
Explains a lot.
And you get the
1995, Tina Turner. That's the best they could do.
Do you think Taylor Swift will ever do a Bond theme?
If Sam Smith can do one, I don't see why not.
That'd be cool.
Dude, somebody put on an Adele song. Like I was like at I think I was at Gathering Grounds over at University Mall.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of like looked up at the barista and I was just like, dude, you're getting Adele. And she just stared blankly at me and I left.
Great. That's good.
Yeah, but this prologue.
No, the prologues, yeah, it's awesome. We always joked that one Soviet going to take a shit, and like the last thing he expected was to be punched in the face by a British Secret Service agent.
A smiling British Secret Service agent. Like he's happy.
He gets off a quip. Because remember we joked that like what Sean Connery's Bond would have done, what Moore's Bond would have done. Like Moore's Bond would have had what do you say? Would have had a clown nose on and would have like
honked his nose,
flushed the toilet for him, and then like slapped him in the face. George Lazenby would have been like, "It's never happened to the other fellow," and then Dalton would have shot him in the head and then worn his face as a disguise around the facility.
Yeah, Daniel Craig would have gone rogue.
Yeah, Daniel Craig would have just thrown him through the wall and then gone rogue. Or
that's just all he can ever do.
Yeah, or just join the Soviet Union. Yeah. He's like, this is better. I'm gonna do this. I'm angry. What did we say for Connery though? I don't remember.
He does that move where he's
slow motion.
Yeah.
The slow-mo fight where he's like, whoa, like really winds it up, and the guy's like, no, and he like absorbs the blow in his like dad bod gut, which was like passed for jacked back then.
Either that or he would do what all the other Sean Connery fights do, where it's like so obviously like sped up footage.
Oh yeah, he would have had a martini upside down.
Yeah.
So. Be like, yeah, I don't know.
But it's a tight prologue. Like it moves at a really solid. The cool thing about the best Bond prologues are they almost work like a short film.
Yeah.
It just happens like to have James Bond. And this is certainly kind of a case study. It's like a whole adventure. Remember in Moonraker where like that like woman that Roger Moore's hooking up with is like any higher, Mr. Bond, my ears will pop. What does that mean? Why would her ears pop?
Ears will pop if they go in.
Like, what's the innuendo there?
That her head's gonna explode. That's how the movie fucking opens. Any higher, my ears are. Oh fuck! It just it predates License to Kill. Just a fucking exploding head. Bond's like, cue it. Happened again.
She like walks. They replaced like the James Bond in the opening sequence with the barrel with her. Her head just explodes and the red shit going down the camera.
Yeah. Bong bong bong.
Yeah, man. What do you think of Brosnan's performance overall in his debut? Because he almost got this role like twice.
Yeah.
Before they were finally like, "Oh no, you're not making Remington Steele anymore. You can." Yeah. Apparently, I think you were. Was it Rich? You were saying like the only like real input Albert Broccoli has because he's almost dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember hearing. I think it might have been on an Everything or Nothing documentary where they said his like last real like major contribution to the Bond franchise was his okaying the Pierce Brosnan as the next Bond. Yeah. So no, he's great. I mean, he's very, there's the brutality of Dalton in there a bit, especially in the cradle stuff. But he really brings back that kind of, as much as I love Dalton, and we've said it a million times, he's my favorite Bond, but he really brings back the more suave, kind of having fun with it Bond, ladies' man Bond. And we were also saying,
most fashionable Bond.
Yes. We were also saying how quick he gets the Martini and James Bond line out of the way,
which I feel like was a deliberate. Look, it's all the
real quick. Yeah.
He's driving a Rolls Royce.
And the Aston Martin scene.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff's in the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think like one of the reasons that I like Pierce Brosnan as Bond as much as I do is that he kind of takes cues from a lot of the stuff that the prior actors did right, and like I think it's got to be intentional because you can see him, like you were just saying, running down all the things that pop out there, and yeah, I mean it's like you're watching this, and if you've seen any of the movies before, you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of like that, or for me, the first Bond that I saw knowing it was a Bond film was GoldenEye, so going back and watching those other movies later on, and seeing, oh yeah, there's kind of a sense of continuity here that might not have been as strong if you had started with Connery, where there's more of a kind of a tonal shift between the different actors.
Yeah, I remember seeing that trailer for GoldenEye, where he goes and he shoots the numbers into 007, or he shoots the phrase, was like this Christmas or whatever it says, and he shoots it into 007. He's like, "Are you expecting somebody else?" It's like, and it goes in. And then me and my brother would run around as little kids, not knowing what "no more foreplay" means, with with finger guns and running up to people and going, "No more foreplay." No more. And my dad was like, "Stop fucking saying that." Weird little kids.
fucking kids.
Fucking kids.
Get out of here. Yeah, I mean, this Bond movie was an event,
Yeah.
And it's kind of wild. It had been 6 years because of like, the producers were facing like legal issues with the franchise. Obviously, the last one didn't perform quite as well as they had hoped. Late in the game, like as late as like 93, 94 is when Timothy Dalton finally is like, yeah, I'm good.
I'm trying to remember. Is that what happens? Is he kind of like, I'm done?
Yeah.
Because like contracts probably clearly outrun by that point or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's probably just, I'm good, I'm done.
Yeah, it wasn't like an immediate.
Didn't he want to do one more, and they wanted him to do like two more, maybe even more than that?
Well, it got to a point because he was game to do a third one. It wasn't. I think a common misconception is that he got like released from the role, or that he like walked away as soon as License to Kill came out. It's like, no, he was like still like on to be Bond into the 90s, but yeah. But like when it came down to like, yeah, there might have been like, hey, we're going to extend, because he was contracted, I believe, for 3, because I think 3 is what they offer everybody from.
Do you
jump.
know? Because I can't remember. Do you know if they ever like how close they ever got to like, what would have been Bond 18? No, Bond. Whatever the hell number it would have been. Like,
Die Another Day is 20, so that means World's Not Enough is 19, so it's Bond 17.
Bond 17.
Didn't they have posters made with Dalton on them?
They had an original script, and it was supposed to take place, like it was supposed to be based off Property of a Lady, or inspired by, probably very loosely based on Property of a Lady. And so they had like a script going, and I don't know if he was dissatisfied with the script or so much time had passed that he was like, you know what, I'm going to do the Beautician and the Beast. I'm good.
I already played Neville Sinclair in The Rocketeer. I'm good.
That came out like, what, 4 years before all this?
Yeah, 91, I think.
Yeah. Which is getting an anime. They just released the first look of the animated series today. So you get that with the catchphrase, never fear, I'm the Rocketeer.
It's perfect. It rhymes.
But no, it was pretty. It was not like an immediate like, oh, License to Kill's out, it's underperforming, I'm going to walk away. It's like, oh, I'm still on it. Well, it's taken a while. Oh, the contract's expired. The script. I'm good. And I think after they realized a new actor was coming onto the role, that's when they kind of revamped it a bit to reflect more kind of post, because License to Kill doesn't reflect the Cold War at all. Living Daylights is all about the Cold War, but License to Kill doesn't reflect the Cold War at all. So this one is very much kind of like, this is a character that in many ways defines the Cold War dynamic between the UK and the Soviet Union, and now what does this character do now that the Cold War is over? Like, it's in a lot of ways.
How is he still relevant?
Right. There's that great line where M calls him a Cold War a relic from the Cold War, a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. In a lot of ways, GoldenEye is like the first postmodern Bond. It's the first one to kind of have those metatextual elements, like, do you even matter anymore? Like, Skyfall is the most postmodern Bond, but this is like the first one that really kind of embraces those elements. So yes, Rich, you haven't provided your thoughts on Mr. Brosnan.
I love Pierce Brosnan. I think he's actually criminally underrated. When a lot of fans of different ages talk about James Bond, who their favorite is, who's good, it's not his fault that his best movie is his first one, which is not the case with Connery. It's not the case with Roger Moore. It's not the case with Dalton, and you can argue that it's not the case with Daniel Craig, because there's a drop off at Tomorrow Never Dies. There's another big drop off with Die Another Day, and or with The World Is Not Enough, and then with Die Another Day. So his movies weren't as strong, but he was always, I thought, a very capable James Bond. I mean, he certainly looks the part, and they really found, I think, the right guy at the right time to be the balance of what they had with Connery, Moore, and Dalton. I think I said the other night too, you can make a case Brosnan's got the hottest chicks, the hottest Bond girls in all of the movies. In terms of all of the girls that you see him kiss on screen, he's got one of the more memorable set pieces in the history of the James Bond franchise. And I think if you kind of look at GoldenEye, this movie in and of itself is just one set piece after another. Like there's the only thing that, and I didn't realize this till you brought it up the other night, Sam, there is that a little bit of dead time after he races Famke Janssen's character up until point where he leaves what's his name's club with Minnie Driver in it.
Yeah, Valentine Dmitri Valentine.
Zukovsky?
Yeah, Zukovsky.
Yeah, it's a little slow there, but then you've got he runs into Trevelyan in the graveyard. Then you've got the tank. They're in the helicopter. Then you've got the tank, the train, Cuba. Like the movie just has a lot of things that stand out and that are very memorable. And I mean, Sean Bean was a fantastic villain. The way that they went about, as a postmodern Bond, as do you even matter anymore? Oh shit, the guy that you are going to be going up against is somebody who knows everything about MI6. He's your old partner in crime. So it was a very, I don't want to say easy movie to make, but if you have to deal with, the Cold War not being a thing anymore, just have Bond go up against one of his former partners. So this wasn't really like a reset of the franchise or a re-envisioning. There's more of it was kind of like a refresh.
I think there's also a point there when you're talking about, what does Bond matter anymore? 006 kind of is Bond through the looking glass. And, in order to deal with that problem, he has to go to, the Russians, basically people that, 5-6 years before he would have been shooting at. Yep. Now he has to go and say, okay, let's let bygones be bygones. We've got more important things, let's work together now. And, saying, not only is Bond's individual worth in question, like everything that he spent his entire life doing is now kind of up for grabs.
Here's a question, mentioning that. Does it ever bother you? I mean, it makes sense in the prologue, but does it ever bother you, 2/3 of the way through the film where Bond like straight up kills like dozens of Russian soldiers in like a government building
In like the facility level?
in like the archives level.
Oh, the archives
You
level?
mean after the dude from Bad Boys and the Patriot and Serendipity gets offed?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Well, to be fair, they're shooting at him.
Yes. Yeah.
So, time to fuck shit up.
He has a license to kill.
He's got a license to kill, dude.
He's going straight for your heart.
Those bullets were just going through the air, and they made the problem of getting in the way of them.
That's right.
It's their own fault.
That's a great fucking scene. I mean,
Oh, it is,
it's a
yeah.
great prelude to the tank scene, but like that. I mean, Martin Campbell, the director who directed my favorite Daniel Craig movie, Casino Royale, he can do action so fucking well with that character, and that scene, like especially with all like the papers and shit flying in the air and like just oh man, and then just jumping right into the tank and going nuts. And from pretty much from then on, the rest of that movie is just a fucking wild ass ride.
Yeah. Yeah. They get to Cuba. Joe Don Baker's waiting for them.
Oh yeah. So maybe not exactly.
Did they ever say why they used Jack Wade as opposed to Felix Leiter?
I feel like they felt like they had given Leiter his out with License to Kill, and they were just like, let's give him a new post Cold War character, a new CIA buddy.
Yeah.
And Joe Don Baker's like, I'm right here.
America's favorite.
You guys liked me as Whitaker in The Living Daylights. It's like, we did? And he's like, all right. No one will recognize me. I'll be your muse.
I am the GoldenEye.
Yeah. Did you ever play that shitty James Bond game, GoldenEye Rogue Agent, where you're the...
Oh yeah, I own that shit.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It keeps freezing. So I never finished it. But in college, I bought a bunch of the Rogue Agent. What was the other one?
Nightfire.
Yeah, all
Agent
those.
Under Fire.
Agent, all those. I bought all
Everything or
those
Nothing.
and was playing them. Everything or Nothing's fucking legitimately great. We should do. I mean, we're not going to. But I could do a whole fucking episode just on Everything or Nothing as the fourth or the fifth Pierce Brosnan movie. But yeah, I had it. I don't remember really much about it.
It's so contrived because they're like the reason this obviously to cash in on the GoldenEye name. You're a 00 agent that becomes a rogue agent.
Oh yeah, you kill Bond, right? Or you're responsible for Bond's death, right?
Is it Bond's death or the botching of that mission or something?
Botching a mission or something? Yeah, Bond dies.
Yeah.
On the mission,
and you've got a literal golden eye.
That's right.
And it gives you powers.
Yeah. I do have GoldenEye Reloaded or whatever, where it's Daniel Craig. It's not really Daniel Craig, but it's Daniel Craig's likeness.
Yeah, and he voices the character, I think.
Does he?
I don't
okay.
know. Maybe he does.
Either way, that one's kind of fun. I mean, it's cool being revisiting certain aspects of the original game.
Garrett, I feel like you own Rogue Agent.
Probably. I never played it though.
Like on the GameCube.
I own a lot of shit. Let's be real.
Yes.
But I don't recall owning that, but I won't disclaim it because as soon as I do, I'll probably be go back home for Christmas or something and it'll fall out of a bookcase or something. I don't know. But
I've been here the whole time. Rogue
Agent.
Agent.
With the freaky GoldenEye powers, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know about that, and I was listening to you describe it, and I'm like, this is a bad acid trip, but okay.
Yeah.
It's there.
It happens. It helps.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, Rich was mentioning the Bond girls in this one. You get, Famke Janssen, you get Isabella Scorupco. Brosnan has the best chemistry Brosnan has with any of his co-stars is with Isabella Scorupco, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's not Halle Berry. It's not Denise Richards. It's not Michelle Yeoh. It's Isabella Scorupco. They just make there's a lot of just palatable chemistry there.
Yes.
Also, he breaks Famke Janssen's ribs.
Yes.
Literally. in the Turkish bath sequence.
Yes.
Yeah. Feel free to discuss.
The Turkish bath sequence was kind of like a throwback to Connery with the fight where he throws the electrical equipment into the tub. Doesn't he burn her ass on a thing and then grabs something and hits some dude across the face with it right as he's walking in?
Yes. That is something he does. And it turns out in GoldenEye Rogue Agent, because I had to know, you were responsible for the death of 007 in a training exercise, so he's actually okay.
Oh. Wait. So
What?
Bond dies in a training exercise?
But he's actually okay.
But he's actually okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
That's just why you get drummed out of MI6.
Oh.
I had to know.
Okay. Like I said, it always froze at the same part. So
I think we're all kind of sitting around the dark horse not the dark horse topic. Because Sean Bean was originally up for the role of 007 after Timothy Dalton stepped down. He was one of the actors that was shortlisted, along with I want to say
Mel Gibson, Hugh Grant, and Liam Neeson passed on the role too.
Yeah, imagine. I mean, Jake.
Imagine Mel Gibson.
Oh, that'd be the greatest movie I've ever made. Be the fucking greatest. Like when he comes down from the fucking vent and he takes the thing down, he'd be like the fucking Three Stooges had poked him in the eye. And then he would have shot 006 just because he pissed him off. He would have blown up the whole thing before anybody fucked with him. And
they would have gone back to London and watched the Three Stooges with his dog.
Yep. In a fucking trailer at the beach.
Dancing to Bobby
It'd be like a 20-minute long movie.
Yeah. He gets shit done, man. You know?
Has to relocate his shoulder for some
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah, he does the bungee jump and he dislocates his shoulder before punching a man taking a shit.
John Woo.
The bungee,
was
like it's
also
the dislocated shoulder. Dislocated shoulder is from bungee jumping through the wall to punch the man.
He's like, oh,
it's just like, bam.
Fuck. And then instead of the Aston Martin, he's got the fucking V8 Interceptor and a sawed-off shotgun.
He knows what women want.
Yeah, that's a great movie, man. Oh man, one of the all-time greats, which I own.
Is there any Gibson film you do not own?
Oh yeah, there's plenty. What was that movie? Is that movie Ted? Is that the movie?
Ted?
No, I'm thinking the bear. No, it's called. No, I own the Beaver.
Is it that one where he's like a mentally challenged man?
Is that yeah? But it's just a name. It's just the guy's name. I can't remember what it's called.
Fred?
No, it's not Fred.
Todd.
It's not Todd.
You're just gonna name names until you get it.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. Anyway, but yeah, there's plenty. I don't own Conspiracy Theory.
Oh wow.
I don't own. I've seen it, but I don't own it.
Oh, and the answer to your question is Tim.
Tim. Yeah, I don't own Tim. I've never seen Tim. But yeah, Mel Gibson. He was supposed to be Batman in Batman '89. I mean, he wasn't supposed to, but I guess they offered him.
He was in the running.
Yeah.
Yeah. How
like,
that would have been insane.
Yeah. What are you? Fucking Batman! And he would have just thrown him off the fucking roof. Yeah. You want to get nuts? Come on. I mean that happens, but I mean it would have been more fucking hilarious. Yeah.
Here's one for you. You know, because we've said a bunch of times on this podcast that Martin Campbell is like the best director to direct a new James Bond.
Yeah.
Like a new guy playing James Bond in their first movie. This movie was almost directed by John Woo.
Instead, he did Face Off.
The archives would have just had more doves instead of paper flying in the air in slow-mo.
I can't decide if that'd be a good thing or not.
I love John Woo Hong Kong films, but okay, hot take. I don't like Face Off.
I mean, I think
What?
it's
Are you kidding me?
I knew that was going to get that reaction from you, man.
it's just fucking
A
wild.
John Woo Bond film could have had Mel Gibson as 007 and John Travolta as 006.
Yeah. Or Nic Cage is 007.
Yep.
Yeah, for England, James? No, for me. And then the camera would have zoomed in on his face with his fucking eye going, ah!
It's like a solid 30-second slow
Yeah.
cut in while he's just doing that shit.
Yeah, yeah. The name's Bond. James Bond. You know?
You guys are missing it at home, but like, Jake's got the crazy eyes.
Jake has spent a lot of time studying to be Nic Cage's successor. So.
Yeah, he's like, I've been on missions with 001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, man. He would have played Q as well. He would have played 006 as well, too. And he probably would have played Natalia. He would have played
Just
them all.
a one-man show.
Yeah, just a one-man show. He would have punched his own self in the face while taking a shit.
Sorry, man.
Sorry, I didn't see you there.
I forgot to knock.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So
He's great. There's a new Nic Cage movie on Vudu like every Tuesday. It's incredible. I'm seeing the Teen Titans movie not just because I think it actually looks freaking weird and funny, but he's Superman. He's voicing the Man of Steel himself finally.
he wants to be the Joker because
And he also-
Warner Brothers has like 2 Joker movies
Yeah.
at least.
Also, if you watch the trailer for the new Titans thing, the way he pronounces Titans. They were like, "Oh shit, just let him go." That was the best take we had because he was yelling every other line.
Yeah, it's just like cobbled from
Yeah.
different takes.
Yeah,
Titans.
Titans. I'm Superman.
He never actually said that word. They just like cobbled it together.
Yeah,
from
they
the rest of what he was
cobbled
saying all day.
together random shit of him saying things.
So yeah, I don't know how I feel about a John Woo James Bond movie, and I'm not a fan of Face Off.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just that's a nuts movie, and I love Nicolas Cage
And nuts things.
and nuts things. I mean, it's no Vampire's Kiss, so that's the fucking crazy. Maybe one of the craziest movies ever made.
It's up there.
Because like it's a movie where like most of the movie. I mean, it's an interesting premise, but Nic Cage is on a whole nother fucking planet making that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, he is like, it's like he's dropped acid.
Yeah, and it's scary because he didn't. But he's said repeatedly that's probably, if not his favorite, one of his favorite roles he's ever done. And his agent begged him not to do it.
I wonder how many of those conversations he's had with his agent over the.
I don't know if there's an agent in the picture anymore. Just email me the script; it'll be fine.
Yeah. I need to pay off my lien and my divorce.
He just hits reply. He
I
has
think
them all.
realistically, he just shows up on set and he's like, "So, what am I doing today?"
Yeah.
And they're like, sure, whatever."
Yeah, I'm reading for the part of the 1,000-year-old wizard. And they're like, there's not a 1,000-year-old wizard in this movie, Nic Cage. Well, there is now. He's probably filmed a Ghost Rider sequel somewhere in his backyard, and we just never see it.
Yeah.
He's like Prince. He just has all these other movies made.
Did you know after he became friends with Sean Bean, which was the impetus for this entire diatribe?
Yeah.
He became friends with Sean Bean during the production of National Treasure, and they were hanging out in Nicolas Cage's one of his houses that he doesn't have anymore, presumably, and they got drunk, and he was showing off a prehistoric bear skull. And Nic Cage accidentally broke it and was devastated, and they had a burial ceremony for it in the backyard.
Oh, man. That's so great.
That's so Nic Cage.
That's so Nic Cage. I broke your skull.
I have a prehistoric bear skull. It's what I used with my. Knowing money.
Yeah. I pounded it in the dust and snorted it.
They probably did that.
It makes
too.
all my acting choices for me.
So yeah, Sean Bean in this movie, originally supposed to be approached to be Bond. They liked him enough to cast him as the bad guy. He's like only 36 in this movie too. We're not that much younger, but charming as hell. What do you guys think of his performance as 006, Alex Trevelyan?
He's
Alex
great
Trevelyan.
because we've always talked about or at least I have. I always love getting to know more of MI6 and expanding on the world a little bit more, especially with, most of the other 00s we met are clowns getting fucking knifed in the back. It was in Thunderball when you get the room of 00 agents. Is that Thunderball?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is like the biggest, most detailed we ever get of a 00. It's not Bond. So it's kind of cool seeing the two of them work together, even though going in that he's the bad boy.
That was something that the trailer gave away too, because they straight up had shots of him fighting Sean Bean, and you're like, oh well, okay, I guess he 1 makes it past the prologue, and 2 goes mano a mano with Pierce Brosnan. But and then 95 was a great year to be Sean Bean.
Yeah,
because he had Patriot Games.
Oh, he's so great. Patriot Games is the best. Fucking love that movie.
It's on sale on Vudu.
Is it?
Father's Day.
Oh shit.
Patriot Games came out in 92.
No, it didn't. Did it?
Yep.
Well, the 90s were a good time.
The 90s were a great time. When is not a great time to be Sean Bean?
Huh.
If you want to be alive, Sean Bean, almost every movie and TV show he's ever done. He's my favorite character in the first Lord of the Rings movie.
Boromir.
Yeah.
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 Have you ever seen any of his Sharp movies?
Sharp movies, no.
He plays this guy, this Napoleonic British war hero named Richard Sharp, which really just consists of him traveling around the British Empire and shagging various women.
I've never seen those.
At it.
Okay.
He made those from the 80s through 3 years ago.
Oh shit! Is he in one of the Silent Hill movies?
He's in the first Silent
He's in both of them, I think.
He's definitely in the first.
Yeah. This has something to do with Bond because he's in the movie. I want to look through some of his shit.
Fuck me sideways. Patriot Games is 92.
Yeah, Clear and Present Danger is 95. That's mid 90s. Clear and Present Danger.
I always thought Clear and Present Danger was 97.
Well, Clear and
That
Present
was Air
Danger.
Force One.
Yeah, that's
which is
a great score,
secretly
too.
my headcanon is a Jack Ryan movie.
Is that he became because he does become president?
He does.
Yeah.
In without remorse, Dead of Honor at the very end. But yeah, that's okay.
Nice. That's like how Gran Torino's my headcanon, Dirty Harry 6. Let's see. I'm just gonna run through some of his stuff real quick here.
Sean Bean from Troy.
That's also in Troy.
Oh yeah,
he's Odysseus.
He
lives.
He's in The Martian.
He doesn't die.
Yeah,
he survives The Martian.
He's in Pixels.
I never saw Pixels.
As Corporal Hill,
Pixels?
SAS officer. He's in Jupiter Ascending. He's in one episode of Robot Chicken.
Have you found the Sharp series?
He's
yet?
in one episode of Family Guy. He's in Silent Hill Revelation.
So yeah, he's in both.
The
first one's actually as good as video game movies. That's top tier video game movie.
Mm. You know how I feel about
It's
that.
up there with Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers is a product of its time.
No way. Sorry.
Super Mario Brothers is perfect.
No, I'm sorry.
Chris would be very happy to hear you say that, man.
This title is Red Riding: The Year of Our Lord, 1983. I love that. Let's see. Oh, the Hitcher. That's right. He was in the.
He was the rebooted Hitcher.
Sharp's Challenge.
Is that
TV
the most recent
movie.
Sharp?
I think so. 2006. That's the first one I noticed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He does voice work in Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Is in Flight Plan.
He becomes.
He's in National Treasure.
Yeah.
That's where he meets. Yeah. Okay, of course.
He becomes a kaiju-sized version of himself in Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, nice. Oh, Equilibrium. Yeah, Equilibrium.
He dies in the church in that movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Reading a book, right? Isn't he? He gets shot in the face. Yeah.
That's an underrated. If we're talking underrated movies,
I like that movie a lot.
Equilibrium's up there.
Yeah. Sharp's Waterloo. He's a handsome fucking man. Holy shit! So he does. Hang on.
Can you guys imagine a world where Sean Bean?
Oh, he's in Scarlet with Timothy Dalton.
Yeah,
the TV miniseries. Hang on, I'm just looking at the amount of Sharps that he does is fucking insane. So, 95, he does 3 Sharp movies before GoldenEye.
Sharpnado.
And then he does 3 more in 96. And then he does 3 more in 97. Jesus, I gotta watch these movies.
Elizabeth Hurley's in one of them.
Oh.
Totally.
Man, I'm trying to see where the first one of those comes out.
It's old. But no, can you guys imagine a world where Sean Bean could have been James Bond?
Yes. especially looking at some of the more.
Where he could have been James Bond. Isn't that this world?
But I mean, like looking at some of these dashing photos of the Sharp series, yeah, but he's got like
The mullet.
well, he's just got the longer kind of hair. There's one in particular. Let me find the cover here. It is the cover to Sharp's Waterloo. That's a Bond face right there, man. That's a handsome man.
That's
a handsome freaking man. And they give him that scar in this movie. TV Guide, a thoroughly entertaining tale.
I want to say it was the because this is apparently the Nic Cage Sean Bean appreciation episode. Is the there's always something. Sometimes it's Dick Tracy. Sometimes
it was the Untouchables one time. Speaking of scores, dun.
The you know, he really, I mean, he goes for 100% in this one. Like both of those actors do. I think they bring out the best in each other. That final confrontation,
yeah,
where they're in like Cuba and he's just like, "Oh, is this the new model watch?" and like just completely like defuses 007's.
I like that.
Yeah. I like smug Bean. That's my preferred Bean. He used to do contact commercials that let the users see better than 20/20, and he proved it by walking and looking at galleries of art and shooting arrows.
What?
Sean Bean's had a pretty storied career, man.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's next level.
So, what about one of the things we've kind of we haven't really mentioned Alan Cumming as Boris.
Boris.
He's got the.
We haven't mentioned Judi Dench's M, female M.
Yeah, this is her debut. She's the only thing that survives classic continuity into
right.
reboot continuity. They're just like, you know who was awesome that we shouldn't get rid of? Judi Dench. So good on you, Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson for not getting rid of Judi Dench, because I love her. I mean, she's got a better rapport with Daniel Craig, but her rapport with Pierce Brosnan is fine too.
Sorry, I'm reading about Richard Sharp. His nickname's Dick and Sharpie. So, there you go.
Dick Sharpie.
Dick Sharpie.
Okay.
For all the, he's the private dick that's the sex machine to all the chicks. That's Shaft. Yeah, we didn't. I mean, Judi Dench, she's got I would argue she has a more combative dynamic with Pierce Brosnan, whereas like with Daniel Craig, it's more maternal.
Yeah.
Or exasperated.
Yeah. Just like, we're still here. Maybe that's the benefit of age. Yeah, it's interesting seeing the 90s incarnation of MI6 because you don't get the padded door anymore. You have Samantha Bond as Moneypenny. You've got it looks like a fucking West Wing set, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. You know, that was one of the things in Skyfall that, you know, kind of disappointed me was when they go back and there's the padded door and I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. You know, I thought that, you know, the idea of, okay, you know, this is no longer the same Bond and like even the little touches are different. Like everything's changed. It's a different game. It's different players. Like the only piece that's the same on the board is Bond. And like that's the only thing that really has any kind of continuity. Yeah, I really liked the kind of different approach to M that Judi Dench took from previous films. You know, like you're saying, it is a lot more. You know, her interaction with Brosnan is even more combative than previous Bond actors had with their respective M. So, yeah, there's this sense of, you know, what the fuck are you doing? That you know, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about there's that line where she's like, I have, you know, if you don't think I have the balls to send you to your death.
She's like, I got balls.
Yeah. We're drinking bourbon. Were they drinking bourbon?
I don't know.
Yeah, because he says, your predecessor kept cognac in the top shelf, and she goes, "I prefer bourbon."
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and then Bond's like, "I'm gonna watch you die in a church."
And what's his name's gonna be there from?
Silva.
No, the guy from Bourne Ultimatum,
Oh,
Kincaid.
yeah, that's right. So that's GoldenEye.
What about Alan Cumming? He's got the if anybody has the catchphrase, it's Alan Cumming.
I'm invincible. My brother always played as him in the GoldenEye game for some reason. He thought he was hilarious.
Was it the Hawaiian shirt?
I don't know. I think all of it.
It was a pretty sick Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, he's fine. He's good.
I feel like every kid, like our age in grade school, always tried to move the pen around and click it around, like Alan Cumming did in GoldenEye. I've never seen anybody be able to move a pen that quickly.
Yeah,
It was all the practice he
there's
had.
some stunts.
Yeah.
Stunt penman.
Penmanship.
Yes.
What for you guys? What is the most memorable set piece from this entire film? Because
The
for
tank.
me, it's the tank.
Yeah, I mean, I think set piece. I mean, the beginning's pretty great too.
For
Obviously,
me, it's the beginning.
but
yeah.
you know, the tank. The moment that it's like Pierce Brosnan is James Bond. For me, you know, like if you were sitting there in the theater, it would have been like when he busts the fucking tank out of the wall and then fixes his tie after running shit down. Like, okay, yeah, you know, we're in good hands. So and of course that fight at the end is just so freaking great. You know, does it ever get that personal? You know, I guess, but not really. I mean, because that was
certainly not for Brosnan.
yeah. I mean, that was his brother, man. He was brother in arms.
You expect me to? Yeah, you expect me to mourn for you or something like that? We know when he confronts him in the fucking St. Petersburg statue park, literal like ruins of the Soviet Union. They're not very subtle about that.
No.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing. I mean, this is I think the first Bond film for all its bravado where he goes into Russia. He goes into like the Soviet-held Czech Republic in the living daylights. But this is the first time and I think only time to date that
That's a good point.
that he hangs out in Russia for such a Cold War associated character.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to Cuba.
Also with love.
No, for me. But yeah, Garrett, what for you? What's the most iconic shit?
I mean, yeah, for me, it was the same thing. You know, busting through the wall with the tank, and then just like going. Like I don't know that it's the one scene that always sticks in my mind. That when I think of GoldenEye, like there's a couple of things that I think about, but that's always like right at the top of the list.
Yeah. Also, busting through the truck of Perrier. How much?
Oh yeah.
How much
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
like?
Oh, product placement, baby.
Yeah, you got that. You got IBM with the computers. Everybody's using IBM computers on both sides of the former Iron Curtain, and the BMW that only gets used peripherally at the very end. None of the gadgets shown off actually get used because that was a late in the game product deal.
Yeah.
They're like, we need a sports car. Aston Martin isn't really relevant right now. And BMW was like, we got the Z3, and they're like, cool, because that's outside for those first three movies. Because it was a 3-movie product placement deal. That's all he's driving. He doesn't get he gets what, the Vanquish and Die Another Day. He gets back the Aston Martin and Die Another Day, and they make it invisible.
Yeah. That's where a lot of people are just like, nope.
So, fuck them.
Fuck 'em.
You guys got anything else to add? Any Sean Bean favorites? Nic Cage favorites?
She tastes like strawberries.
I wouldn't know. I would.
I would.
I like how aggressive he is about that. We used to, and Garrett can vouch for this. We used to say that between the roommates, like I don't know, a lot. What was it that first year?
There was a lot. There was actually a lot of GoldenEye that wound up getting
Quoted, referenced.
quotas, reference, whatever. Yeah, like it's a good film. Watch it.
Yeah, this is probably the one we watched the most in college. It was probably
I think it's probably the one that like before Casino Royale. This is probably the Bond film that like the most people could just sit down and watch, because like the older stuff, especially for folks our age, and younger, anything from Dalton number 4 does kind of feel dated, where like this is the first one that feels like what you would kind of think of as a modern movie.
Where would you rank it all time?
ooh.
I would definitely put it in top 5, probably top 3. But I mean, I do really like this movie. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the highest accolade I'll give it is, it's Brosnan's best.
By a country mile.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's not top 5 for me.
Maybe top 7.
Nah, top.
For me, it's probably in the top 7. It's not in the top 5. Top 5 is basically divided between.
I'd say top 10.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely in the top 10. Definitely the best Brosnan. But yeah, it's like it's probably in the like 7 slot behind 2 Connerys, 2 Craigs, a Lazenby, and a Moore.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
So you like this movie better than both Daltons?
Yeah.
I have something that's gonna piss everybody off. You know what movie I would put ahead of this?
Quantum of Solace?
Quantum of Solace. Yep. That's right, boys.
Where's my hang up button? How do I get out of this call?
I like Quantum
I
of
don't even
Solace
want
a
to
lot.
know you.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
You're going to know him biblically
Yeah.
in about 3 episodes. 4 episodes? How far do we have to go until we hit Quantum Solace?
Oh, my goodness.
5.
Yeah.
5, yeah. We're getting there, boys. We're in the 90s now. We're in the Brosnan era now.
Jeez.
We're a quarter of the way through Brosnan.
Jeez. And these ones will be fun because I have not watched these in a long-ass time.
There's kind of a reason.
He's the Bond I have watched the least, like in terms of just even before the podcast and stuff. So, yes, I have not watched. The most recent one was probably The World Is Not Enough, maybe somewhere like on TV or something.
I feel like that's the Brosnan film that's always on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's always Tomorrow Never Dies, man. Whew, I don't
They
know the
never
last.
played that one.
I don't know the last, and that has some interesting shit going on in there.
Yeah.
That big stunt with the banner.
Yeah.
Or
On
the
skyscraper.
Yeah. And the motorcycle stuff.
Tomorrow Never Dies would be incredibly relevant today if you had a better villain in.
Then Jonathan Pryce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The news.
Yeah. There's no news like bad news.
So yeah, it'll be
That's gonna be a fun one.
it'll be interesting and that's the first Bond movie I saw in theaters. So
Me too, man.
it'll be interesting to revisit all that stuff.
Yeah. So next time you get Tomorrow Never Dies. This time you got Sean Bean's filmography. Nic Cage is everybody. And GoldenEye somewhere in there.
GoldenEye.
Come up,
Clang, clang, clang.
found your weakness. Sounds like the fucking WB frog.
Yeah.
Should be the WB frog. Imagine that. Imagine if GoldenEye and he had like the top hat and cane and was like dancing on like the hammer and sickle.
Yeah. For England James. No, for me. Just the fucking man killed twice. So that's it.
I'm gonna like wake up in the middle of the night tonight and just be like, no, and just like die of laughter, choking on my own spit.
Yeah.
Just imagine him waving his.
I'm thinking of all the
frog
lines now.
limbs.
Yeah. No
Florida
more
man dies from J
foreplay.
frog joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to knock.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, this has been another installment from Geek Out with Love. I'm Sam.
I'm Jake.
I'm Rich.
I'm Garrett.
Goodbye,
Bye.
James Bond. This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.